This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and here's a canoodle for some of you. You're having trouble deciding. You've got the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. You're trying to decide if you should upgrade to the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. This is just last year's model, despite the double jump in digits for the model number here. So it's still a very good phone. It's still nice, modern looking, beautiful, nice specs, good camera, all that sort of thing, fingerprint scanner. But this one brings a lot to the table too. And some of you are on the yearly upgrade program, or I think of it as a lease program, honestly, where you just pay a certain amount a month for the phone, and every 12 months you get to upgrade to the new one if you want to. So this is geared probably more towards you folks, because otherwise this is an expensive spend if you've already went out and bought this one, which was pretty darn expensive last year. And also it should be useful to those of you who are noteless right now, but you want to have a note, and you're thinking, well, I can pick up a Note 5 left over at the carrier for less money, or should I get the Note 7, that sort of thing. And they're both available in a variety of colors here. I would love to show you something other than the blue Note 7, but we have several models in review loaners from different carriers, and it's always the blue color. But this is available in black and in silver, and if you're overseas, it's available in gold. And this is available, again, it depends in country, but for sure you're going to be able to get it in black or white. Glass back, glass front on both of these, aluminum frame. Gorilla Glass 5 on the Note 7, Gorilla Glass 4 on the Note 5. I know there's been rumors and brouhaha about how the Gorilla Glass 5 scratches more easily, and honestly, this one is my particular unit, and I've had it in my pocket for a couple of weeks. I don't use a case. It hasn't scratched yet, so there's that. Anyway, Gorilla Glass is good. We have Gorilla Glass on both of these, version numbers aside. We're going to compare them now. So undeniably, the Note 7 is a more comfortable phone. It's that curvy, symmetrical design, and it's 2.2 millimeters narrower, which is a significant difference in terms of what your width of your hand can accommodate. It's also IP68 water resistant. Now, that's a nice feature, even if you don't work outside in the wet all the time. Say you're just washing the dishes and the phone rings and you want to answer it. There's a lot of uses for that. Sorry, the Note 5 does not have water resistance. In terms of software, they're both running Android 6 Marshmallow currently, and most likely just because the Note 7 is a newer phone, it will get OS updates farther into the future. They both run TouchWiz, but a much changed version of TouchWiz on the Note 7, and we don't know if the Note 5 is ever going to get a backward update. Now, some of you might say, well, those UI changes so it doesn't look so Disney-esque and that sort of thing. You can change that with the theme anyway, but TouchWiz goes a lot deeper than just the theming that's on the device, so it's a significant change, honestly. So you can see things like the drop-down settings are more useful and more plentiful, and also still very controllable on the Note 7. And another important thing here to note is the settings menu. Look at it's become a lot more like normal Android on the Note 7. It was much too busy. I mean, the 4-page screen or the 4-tiered section here on this Verizon edition of the Note 5, you can see there's just a lot more complexity. You spend forever just hunting around for settings. They had to add search for that very reason. In terms of expansion, this is the important one here. The Note 7 brings back the micro SD card slot. Yay, Note 5 didn't have that. That was one of the things that folks were not real happy with when it comes to the Note 5. So expandable storage is a go. Note, there's also USB-C on the Note 7. That's Samsung's first USB-C phone. We still have micro USB 2.0 on the Note 5. Maybe for peripherals that will make a difference in terms of expansion. I don't think so, but it would be more convenient for those of you who are buying USB-C laptops, fewer cable adapter changes, that sort of thing. Now, display, you're looking at the same 5.7-inch size. Samsung has been pretty much fixed on that size for Notes for some time. And QHD 2560 by 1440 resolution, Super AMOLED, so pretty similar there. The improvements with the Note 7 is that it adds HDR video playback, which is supported by the Amazon Video app and Netflix Video app. So if you're into that HDR effect, brighter, more contrasty, more color-saturated video, well, that's important. I don't think that's going to be a huge deal breaker. Personally, I do see a little bit more color accuracy and clarity on the Note 7, but it's not a huge difference at all. So I wouldn't obsess on that point too much. We do get the always on display for the Note 7, and that I do like because AMOLED doesn't use any power to display blacks. It's only using some power to show the faint white letters you see on screen for this always on screen, so you don't have to wave your hand over it or move it or do anything just to see your notifications, the time, the date, important stuff like that. I've come to really depend on that. I like that. I think that's a nice touch. Again, enough to spend a whole lot of money on a new phone. Well, that's up to you, but maybe the sum of all the improvements will be enough to motivate you to upgrade. Another thing that I like, finally, Samsung has enabled auto brightness, but where you can put it where you want. You still have control of the slider, so even when auto brightness is enabled, you can have it dimmer, you can have it brighter, as you can see here on screen, where with the old Note 5, you either adjusted the slider or you had auto brightness on, which was even more maddening because Samsung's auto brightness used to default to something that I thought was too dim for indoor conditions often, but you had to have it turned on so you could get that super bright outdoor mode. So here in sunny Texas, you go from your house and go outside and you're like, oh, wow, a little hard to see. So Note 7 wins on that point too. And we would expect it to, let's face it. It's newer, it's supposed to be better, right, folks? For the S Pen, you get double the pressure sensitivity, but honestly, the difference between 2,000 and 4,000 levels of pressure sensitivity is not real easy to notice. 2,000 is quite good and makes for natural feeling writing and drawing as much as a plastic pen on glass are ever going to feel natural. Action Memo is gone from the Note 7. I know a lot of you are sad about that, but Samsung said that they're bringing it back, and it'll be in the Galaxy App Store as a download for the Note 7. At the end of September, or maybe even sooner. So that's one salient difference. Both of these have the you can write on the screen when the screen is turned off feature if you just pop the pen out. And here's one, I know, there was a big brouhaha with the Note 5 because you could put the stylus in backwards. That is butt end first, and it could get stuck in there. So there's that. In fact, demoing this right now, I almost did get it stuck in there. And with the Note 7, you can't put it in backwards. They've made it so it just won't go in the slot. You'll figure that out. For performance, these are still two of the fastest phones on the market, and this is going to vary a little bit. Here in the United States, we get the Snapdragon 820. We don't get the Exynos CPU. Last generation, Note 5, we had the Exynos CPU, but with the Note 7, you're getting a newer generation of Exynos, so of course it's going to be faster. Is the Note 5 a slow phone? Absolutely not. So that's up to you. I know some people want the latest, the greatest, and the fastest. You are getting something that does benchmark faster and experientially feel a little bit faster. Both of them have 4 gigs of RAM. Typically, the Note 5 shipped with 32 gigs of storage. Some carriers offered 64 gigs for more money, but 64 gigs of internal storage is standard on the Note 7. For the cameras, some people were saying, I ain't gonna downgrade my phone because, well, the Note 5 had a 16 megapixel camera. The Note 7 has a 12 megapixel camera, just like the Samsung Galaxy S7 family. Megapixels aren't everything, folks. There's a lot of improvements in the camera imaging system that makes the Note 7 the better snapper, though honestly, the Note 5 is still really quite good because Samsung's high-end phones just have great cameras. So you get a 16 megapixel f1.9 for the lens aperture, that is, with OIS in the Note 5, and with the new model 12 megapixel, a faster f1.7 lens OIS, but you have larger pixel sensor sights, so it lets in more light for better low light photography, dual pixels, so dual photo sights there. So it's doing more sophisticated imaging, and you can see the difference in things like high contrast images. You're less likely to see skies whited out or your landscape shadows looking too dark and lacking details. So yeah, you might be losing megapixels, but honestly, most people are not printing these things out to 24 by 36 inch posters. You don't have to have all those megapixels, but you want something that's going to give you the best possible contrast. Light balance, colors, you get the idea. And both of them do 4K video, and they both have software effects up the wazoo. And you can see the UI handles it a little bit differently. I'll leave it up to you as to which you like better. I think both of them are quite usable. For biometrics, both of them have the same fingerprint scanner embedded in the home button. No difference there in terms of performance, but the Note 7 adds an iris scanner. It can take a look at your eyeballs using the front sensor and say, hey, I recognize you. So you don't have to use the fingerprint scanner if you don't want to, though it does require a swipe up on the screen to activate the iris scanner first. Yeah, it actually works pretty well, even for me with glasses on, but I don't know if that's a huge selling feature at this point. Lastly, this battery life, 3,000 milliamp battery in the Note 5, 3,500 milliamp battery in the Note 7. So 500 milliamps, that's a significant capacity difference there. And CPUs, modern CPUs, though they get faster, they also get more power efficient. So even though the Note 7 is faster, it's pretty power frugal. So expect a bit more runtime with the Note 7, potentially 45 minutes of actual use time, depending on what you're using it for after all. So there you have it, a noteworthy comparison. We have the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 from last year and the brand new Note 7 just barely came out. Still hard to get in the United States and really, I believe, just launching in Europe right now. They're both excellent phones. The Note 5 is still a very contemporary phone with very strong features, so it's not like you're really losing out because you have to suffer with your old Note 5 if you have it. But that's it. This brings a lot of nice stuff. And me personally, if you want to know, I've always been a Note person. I've had most every Note that's out there, and I skipped on the Note 5. It just didn't do enough for me. It wasn't that comfortable to hold. There weren't any features that were super duper special, but the Note 7 has me back on board. I just love the ergonomics on this. I love the camera on this. It's fast. It has more storage. It brings back the micro SD card slot and that water resistance, which is pretty handy too. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to watch our video reviews of both of these phones, read our written reviews, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos.